In Bloomington, there's a dedicated group of people who have created a museum which has taken wing, as we discovered at the Prairie Aviation Museum. The old warbirds that once dominated the sky now stand a silent watch. They're part of a growing collection that has taken over a corner of the airport, but they're not the stars. That honor belongs to an old tail dragger.
The DC-3 was the first airliner that could carry a profitable load with passengers and not have to depend upon just the airmail subsidy alone.
This plane was found in Texas, and after months of intensive restoration, flew to its new home where it became the museum's first and primary exhibit. It was built in 1942 for the U.S. Army.
After the war, it was sold to Continental Airlines, and then Southern Airways bought it, and that completed its airline service. It was then purchased by an owner, a rancher, oil millionaire in Texas, and he used it as his personal aircraft. As a sidelight, the famous Grace Kelly, the Princess of Monaco, she once was taken to Mr. Caulfield's ranch to a social event in this airplane.
Although it never flew for Ozark, the plane acquired its paint theme when it was used as a centerpiece of Ozark's 35th anniversary celebration.
And the airplane flew down to St. Louis in September of '85. And the Ozark employees and some of the Air National Guard people down at Lambert spent 11 days preparing it into its colors that you see now, which is the 1950s livery. Then in 1986, as history tells us, TWA bought out Ozark, and this was then the only airplane carrying the Ozark name around the countryside. This airplane is on the National Register of Historic Places. There's only 8 aircraft that's been listed on the National Register. This one was the first DC-3 that was listed. There are 2 now, but this was the first one, and right now it's the only flying airplane on the National Register.
But soon this won't be the only airworthy plane the museum owns, as it's currently working on its next restoration project, a 1958 Cessna 310.
This airplane was used by the Air Force in the 50s, and it was known as the Blue Canoe. More famous use of this particular model of airplane was the Sky King series on TV. This was the #2 airplane that Sky King flew.
Yet the museum is more than the restoration of aging aircraft. Inside its main building is a large display of models, autographed pictures from past airshow performers, plus there are, quite literally, pieces of the past.
Yes, that's sort of a little-known fact. Everybody knew that Lindbergh flew from New York to Paris, also was president of, I believe, TWA when it started. Everybody's got to pay their dues. He paid his dues as a airmail pilot back in the late 20s, and one unfortunate night between Chicago and St. Louis, he crashed in a storm out by Covell, which is about 6 or 8 miles west of Bloomington. We have a piece of a wing strut. Of course, those were all fabric and wood airplanes at the time. Also have a bearing surface that supposedly came out of the engine. In a frame there we have a piece of the aircraft skin, and then some news articles and pictures and that sort of thing.
But the largest section seems to have been inspired by the museum's flagship. On display are a number of items related to Ozark Airlines, including playing cards, matches, pilot logs, and flight uniforms. They're all part of a growing collection. A collection that began with one plane and a group of dedicated people. Today, the old DC-3 still takes guests for rides, filling the air with its distinctive sound, flashing the colors and the name of a bygone era, when air travel was still unique. The Prairie Aviation Museum is developing plans to become a Challenger Learning Center. Patterned after NASA's Johnson Space Center, the center would allow visiting groups to work together on computer-simulated shuttle missions. To find when the Prairie Aviation Museum is open, call 309-663-7632.